Hello, wrestling fans, and especially super fan Double R Richard Robles. I'm Jay with the true horror king Gary, who watches so many horror movies I'm kind of afraid he's preparing for something super creepy. I don't know. What's going on, Gary?
Oh, I'm not gonna lie. I did watch one right before we went to air here. I watched the movie Inoperable with Danielle Harris, who's better known for the Halloween series.
Told you all, I wasn't joking. That was not a joke.
Pretty damn good movie, kind of weird.
Dude watches a lot of movies, as do I. We are huge movie fans, but that's not what we're here to talk about. We're going to lead off with a quick, got some tidbits before I go on a little rant in about a few seconds here. But let's start off with Kushida debuting for Impact, which was just announced recently. And Killer Kelly got a video last night. But let's go with something
a bit of a sultry vignette, you might want to say, kind of more revealing where you watching Killer Kelly, because before she was like an MMA star.
Totally different than what you would expect. But maybe it's like a play on that, like she just breaks out of it. We'll see. Ric Flair's final show will be in association with Impact Wrestling. And what about this movie thing, Gary, which we both think is cool, but you can better explain?
Tom Hannafin broke in at one point when he was on commentary during a break from the action, and he mentioned on July 15th, starring Paul Whiter, a.k.a. The Big Show, will be playing in the movie Marcus, available on July 15th on video on demand. Apparently, it was made by Green Screen Productions and Gravitas Ventures, which is owned by Impact or Anthem, is going to be the distributor. So thus we're going to be plugging another WWE talent or AEW now under our banner. So that's pretty.
I think that's where it's like super interesting that it's movies that have wrestlers in it. Is that? I don't think that could be a coincidence.
Well, that's the thing. What I think is cool is, like, I think next year, if they actually put these movies into production, we might start seeing the likes of Josh Alexander, Eric Young,
but how about even
anybody?
But how about like for sooner? Maybe they're going to put all these movies on some kind of app, which would make sense if there's like a ton of wrestlers in a bunch of them, along with Impact.
Yeah, you'd think that they, like maybe they could put it on the Impact Plus or like maybe even add another $1 or $2 onto the top of it if you want to get both. Or
I think they end up somewhat different than Impact Plus. I'll be honest, I'm not sure, but I think that's going to be going. They're going to be moving on. I have no facts about that one, but I really like this. I mean, myself and others have complained about the business side, and they're not very good at marketing and whatever else. But this is like trying new things, which I love.
They got a lot going on their plate. I mean, I don't know how you can look at it as a negative. I mean, we don't know the outcome of any of this. This, like I said, like prior podcast, this could mean the difference between us being able to sign 3 big names or not being able to sign anybody.
Yeah, and if anyone's complaining about Impact being part of the Ric Flair's final match, I don't know. You're an idiot. I mean, it's Ric Flair, of course. I mean, it looks very good for them that I feel like they're kind of the Ring of Honor in this situation for like All Out, if that makes sense.
Oh yeah, and I've noticed like former ROH people starting to kind of take notice of Impact too. I've noticed it on Twitter and different places, like commenting. There isn't a lot of that negativity of that LOL TNA stigma that we had for like a better part of a decade or more.
Yeah, seems like that's dying out because I say it all the time. They're so goddamn consistent. I actually think it might be to their detriment that they could be so consistent. Now, okay, I'm going to try and do this really fast. I thought the show was awesome after I watched it today, which is Friday. But last night the show was ruined for me because I saw a tweet that showed the name Garrett Kidney, who works for Impact, via Gail Kim, who retweeted him. And to make a very long story, kind of short, I know Garrett is just a lying trash human who teamed up with his awful friend Trevor, I don't have a dime to my name, Dame, and whoever runs the Six Pack account. And, they basically tried to ruin my life. I could mention how and why. They tried to tell people I was Chris Regal, who faked his own death, who used to run TNA Mecca. I'm clearly not. And that was among a bunch of other personal things that like really hurt. All I'm going to say is they're all connected to Voices of Wrestling, a site that used to matter before it came out. The owner was a crazy racist, and I love Impact. Like, I know there's people out there who probably see me on Twitter and like, dude, this motherfucker's crazy, like, why is he going after this? Like, I'm not that crazy where I would argue. I would try and get into a fight with someone from Anthem/Impact when I have a goddamn Impact podcast and I love the show. Like, I have nothing to gain from any of that. So that's all I want to say. I hope people understand that I don't like Garrett and some others at Anthem. I love Impact, the show. That's all.
Right.
Oh, sorry. So I did make a comment today on Impact Asylum about this to my old friend Will, who, good dude, awesome fan. And I was just, because I saw a six-pack there, because I mentioned to him, I thought you were banned on whatever. And he said, oh, no, I'm there. I don't know. Again, why am I talking to this psychopath on Twitter? I don't know. I feel like I can get like to the nice of people, but whatever. I ended up getting my comment banned on Asylum and not his. So let me just say this.
I'm not allowed to stand up for myself. I thought this was America. Huh? This is America? I'm sorry. I thought this was America.
And I don't know. I thought it would be like an open place where I could say whatever I want, but I guess you can't say certain things about certain people. So whatever. Let's get to the show. And also, none of that has to do with Gary. That's just my shit. But before we get to the show, how about our MVP this week? And we got some interesting information on the screen where you can actually follow them. You can't click the links. Like, they're not clickable. It's a piece of paper basically on the screen that you're looking at. But Matt Taven.
You are the MVP.
Matt effing Taven, who I gotta say, if you've listened to me, like I don't bash a lot of wrestlers, but I've bashed Matt Taven because I thought he just sucked. But man, was I wrong. Gary, as a much bigger Ring of Honor fan, what do you got on Taven?
Oh man, I've seen this guy do everything. He's definitely the heart and soul of Bennett and him. I'm not knocking on Mike, but I feel like Taven kind of stands out of the two for me.
Not even close.
And I at times I kind of see a less athletic version of AJ Styles, just because some of the stuff he's able to pull off, like the drop kick when people come off the ropes, and he just makes it look like he nails it at every maneuver that he does, and he looks like he's having fun out there. And I really like the thing where he points to himself and he says, "I'm Matt Taven," that kind of thing. He just brings. He just kind of brings a funness to his character, like that's missing in wrestling, I feel.
Yeah, I think we've been going too long with these MVPs, but also I just want to say, as we do these, it's just going to be a quick thing, and it's more about like promoting the wrestlers, as you can see in the background there. You can follow all their stuff, check out their stores, blah blah blah, and do that. Support them. They need your support, even if they leave the company. If you're really a big fan of a wrestler, support them. And that's all the ways you can support Matt. So let's get to the show. Sorry, got a message there. In case I forget, I absolutely love the backstage segment with James Storm and Macklin. You mentioned before as we were talking, like the older, younger thing.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I think this here kind of brought out that Punisher vibe we were getting from him for the weeks and months we've seen him like come to the ring. I kind of felt like this. He had that like pissed off look with James Storm, like, you better watch your back, cowboy, because I could honestly see him jumping James backstage, and maybe that match doesn't happen this week. I have no idea.
Again, another one is Macklin. I did not like him when he started. I thought he was kind of boring. Like, I didn't see what was like special about him, but now he's fantastic. Like, they got him going against James Storm, who I believe is a legit main eventer or something they badly needed. I don't think they have enough of him. Like him and EY, like they're so good at everything. These guys, you stick them in a tag team, stick them in the head of a stable. You know what I mean? Like, they could do anything.
Well, I found it interesting with Macklin. He has ties to Ian Riccaboni too with ROH. So
interesting.
Yeah. They know each other quite well, which is pretty cool because it kind of felt like maybe Impact, worked their way into getting him in Impact instead of having him be in ROH. But
if Ian Riccaboni happens to be listening to this, our boy Robles, whichever it is, let me know, pointed out that he thinks Sammy is going to take you down. So maybe keep an eye out for that. he does have some interesting theories.
Yeah, he has like a lot of like chaotic kind of ideas, but I mean, being Impact, I wouldn't doubt any of this stuff could probably happen with our kind of like our chaotic booking at times.
I'm kind of a chaotic person, if you haven't noticed. So I love his ideas. He mentioned to tell Alicia about her Knockouts Championship. I believe he meant match or Knockouts Championship. What's the word I'm looking for? Gary, I'm stuck on the word. Knockouts Championship.
Oh, number one contender?
Yeah. Being stolen by Mia Yim at Impact could mean getting heat with Gail Kim for not putting her in a championship. And I think he's pretty much just like leaning towards she's going to turn heel soon, which I definitely think could happen.
Well, I think that could definitely happen too, because I've been calling with Alex Shelley turning heel, and it's kind of funny they got. I mean, maybe I'm looking into it a little too much, but Derby City Rumble, Alex Shelley is supposed to be facing Chris Sabin at that very taping. So who knows? I mean, we might see a lot of different things in the next couple of months.
Okay, so awesome match to start the show, which I was not expecting. I was kind of like, why the hell does this Angles get a title shot? Because he was in the goddamn Dark Order, like seriously. But then it made more sense as I thought about it. I don't think he's actually signed, so it gives Speedball a nice win. It gives Angles a really good match, to put on his resume. And if he stays or if he goes, I mean, I'm guessing he goes, but like if he goes, then he had a great match and he could move on. So that would make sense of why he got that match.
Yeah, well, I didn't know anything about this. I guess it's pronounced Angels.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I think it's Angles, but
Alan,
let us know, fans.
Yeah, well, I'd never seen him. I heard of him. I've heard of the new Dark Order, but I've never really watched enough AEW to know.
Yeah,
and I was really impressed. If he is on the signee table for coming into Impact, I'd be more than welcome. Happy to have him on the roster.
I don't do grades, but 411 gave this 3 3/4 stars, which is very close to 4 stars, which used to be perfect. I'm not sure these days anymore if it's like 4 or 8 because of Meltzer, but
yeah.
I think they said awesome opening division match. I mean, I totally agree with all this. Okay, he was in his home crowd. I think you mentioned that earlier.
Yeah.
And good thing I'm reading this because we forgot to mention how awesome the crowd was once again. Damn.
Oh, yeah. Impact officials and, all the front office took to Twitter and said they were very pleased with the turnout of the crowd and, in the venue. And they just put over Atlanta. I can honestly see us visiting Atlanta in the coming months or, before the end of the year, possibly.
I'm trying to be nicer to Impact fans. Like right now, I was considering having in the background all of the complaints about them not being able to sell tickets for these tapings. That the crowd is insane. And I think I don't want to say I told you so, but we talked about this, how Ring of Honor country kind of, and they're very loud and they're very good fans that pay money and they're loud.
Yeah, and that's the thing. They're paying.
Yeah.
Our old regime was letting people in. They were getting like discounts because they were using the fun park, and Impact very little of that money.
Are you a real fan if that's the only reason?
What's that?
Are you a real fan if you happen to live by there and that's the only reason? You know what I mean?
No. I don't understand. I would go. I can tell you right now, I'd be there every day, and I would be showing more. I'd probably be hoarse by the time of taping would be.
Oh yeah, but I'm sure you've seen some fans. Like it seems like they've turned on them when they left the Impact Zone in wherever in Florida. I'm guessing because they lived around there and they were going to all the shows for free.
Well, the thing is, I did notice that when we were in Kissimmee, I did notice a few people from the old Impact Zone there, though.
Yeah, and I got to say, they look pretty quiet to me. No offense to
Yeah.
the guys, but we need this new young, I don't know if they're younger crowd, but God, the crowd was awesome. Can't say enough.
Yeah, Atlanta was hot all night.
Made the show so much better. And how great was this post-match with EY and Diener? Seen some people giving Diener shit and screw you idiots.
Yeah, this was a really good segment. I think this was one of the better segments I've had in recent weeks or months. Eric Young always does a hell of a job as a heel or face, but mostly a heel. And he came down to the ring, and it's just like I don't know if the ratings jumped, they should have, because I just saw a really chiseled veteran who had a team that, he feel kind of like dropped the ball. And he did said at one point to Cody Deaner, he goes, well, Joe Doring was undefeated until you were in his corner.
Yeah, I really like this. I have no idea where it's going either. I haven't been
Yeah.
reading spoilers, so
They're giving him like one more chance, I guess, to both of them, or they're hinting at a split. I don't know if that is going to happen, but
I feel like it was them looking like they're leaving EY, more like the other way around, which I was very surprised about. But
you know what? I could see it going. I could see Eric Young actually getting him and Diener to try to pound down on Joe Doring.
how about Doring and Diener got so crazy that Eric Young turns face?
That could happen too. You know what I mean? That's what's so good about this is like the options are unlimited. You know.
I know. I know a lot of people don't love Diener, but I think he's an amazing. Look him up. He's an amazing guy that does an insane amount of charity. He's a good enough wrestler. He's a very fun character. You saw him here. He was good, very good on the mic. I think, if you put him in a feud with EY, it'll totally elevate him to that next level, which I think he deserves to be at.
I would have liked to see the Deaners end up facing the Briscoes too. I thought about that after all of this went down. I was like, shit, we could have had the Deaners versus the Briscoes. How wild would that match have been?
Yeah, that would have been good. Got to jump around because PCO had another match, and God, do we love PCO? I think maybe equally.
Yeah, he's incredible. I mean, he's doing this at like almost halfway to 60 years of age, and he shows no sign. I mean, I feel he's in really top shape too, considering the like death-defying stuff he does in and around the ring. I mean, just like, I don't know, he just never seems to get really hurt, and he just kind of like brings out the hardcore legend in him every time he's out there in an Impact ring.
Yeah, it looks like his body is like made of something else. You know what I mean? Like the way he just he can always get back up. It's like it looks like it's from like a horror movie. Yeah. I would actually do that more. Like I think that was done in Ring of Honor more. Like he was saying, like how PCO Vincent kind of controls him or whatever. And I'd like to see more of that. But whatever. This was a really good match, good big man match. I think he's had like all kinds of matches where he's the big guy against a smaller guy. This was two really big dudes with Black Taurus
around the same. I think he might have been a little bigger than Taurus, but I noticed too there was a pretty even chant for both wrestlers, because I felt like PCO would have predominantly been with the crowd, but I felt like Taurus really. I wish Impact could book him a little bit more, like maybe give him like 60-40 wins or whatever.
We've talked about this before. I think it's just AAA is weird as hell, and they seem
that could be.
They seem to like always have problems with I don't know what it is, maybe dates or whatever it is. I don't know, but I blame AAA. So had a Bullet Club backstage thing like that. I would like to see more of that. Remind us that the Bullet Club are a thing, and Bay and Austin. You know what I mean? At least even when the Good Brothers aren't around, have Austin and Bay together. But the Good Brothers were around, so this is a fun little thing. Also had a little thing with my boy Myers, who I've been enjoying. Not really.
Oh, so much. He's incredible with the digital media stuff backstage. Yeah. He's like, oh, what, jobbers are asking for title shots now? Geez, why don't everybody ask for a title shot? You want a title shot?
I think he's the perfect kind of guy for that title. Like, perfect. Like, he's really, really funny. I think he's what Zack Ryder, Matt Cardona, like, thinks he is. Like, really funny, but like he doesn't, like, Myers doesn't try to be. I think like Cardona like tries way too hard to like be whatever he is, but like Brian Myers is just straight up fucking funny. So I really enjoy him.
Tapings, I don't mean to cut you off, but I because this is involving Brian Myers. It's saying a digital media title match between Brian Myers and Aiden Prince. So I don't know if that. I don't know what that is.
For next week? For next week?
That I don't know. It just says a digital media title match, and then in the spoilers, it doesn't really say what it is. It doesn't say if it's episode 1 or episode 2.
Do you know that he's on the roster page?
Oh, Aiden Prince?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I know he was signed, but we haven't been using him in so long, I forgot he was on the Raw.
Yeah, and I happened to be, I don't know what I was looking for on the roster page, and I was like, oh shit, Aiden Prince. All right, so next up was an odd one, Shearer versus Rich Swann. All I will say is this was okay. And probably probably the only thing I would skip if I,
Yeah, I can't really. I mean, I could recommend it because it has Rich Swann. I love Rich Swann.
Yeah, Swann's great. I got Swann.
My problem with Shearer, it always comes down to that. I always have problems with Shearer. A bit of a rant here. It seems like we try to build him up. We make him this tough lion, and he always loses to guys like half his size, or
or he disappears.
It's like they try to make him like this jobber version of Batista or something, and he's not. I don't know. To me, I don't know. I think he'd be better off as a trainer, to be honest with you.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. Like, stick to something. I mean, even if you're going to push the guy, like, push him. Don't.
Or heck, have him be like the enforcer, just never really be that guy that wrestles. You know what I mean?
It's like he has no role at all.
No knock on him. I don't know. It just is awkwardness or something. It doesn't ever mesh well with our roster, no matter what roster we have.
Nope, totally agree. Maybe put him in tags with Bhupinder.
Yeah, that'd be a good way to. Yeah, I didn't think of that.
Or stick him in the back and get him off TV. And let's move on to something better. The Influence and Giselle Shaw asking about the whole Masha thing. So I think that's pretty obvious. Masha's going to kill her, and that'll be fun. I really think they're going to go with a Masha. Jesus, I'm blanking on Jordan. Eventually down the line, I'd
awesome.
Maybe BFG.
Oh yeah, well, I mean, the build was definitely there because we still got like 5 weeks to Emergence, and then Bound for Glory hasn't been established in October. I don't think. Isn't that when it is? Is October?
I think so. I'm thinking like a Goldberg Hogan moment, but they actually put it on pay-per-view.
Yeah, and I don't know what's gonna go on with it because like they haven't really put up a date or anything or a location. I don't think, have they?
I don't think so. I just can't think. I just keep thinking of Masha and Jordan. I'm just like really excited.
Oh yeah.
And I imagine just Masha just like beats her in like 2 minutes. Like she'd be like so huge. It would be like such a Goldberg kind of thing. But whatever. I mean,
well, there was a rumor out there that they squashed it instantly, but apparently they tried to say AEW was interested in Jordan, and it was totally, I guess, a false alleged thing. So,
as I mentioned earlier, I was a bit triggered last night, so I did miss some things. Backstage segments. I'm reading about this one with Rosemary. Was Havoc there last night?
No. I have seen her like on Twitter, like in some of the like Giselle Shaw's Twitter shot. She was in the background, so I don't know if they're just kind of keeping her off TV, but she's kind of there. You know what I mean?
I was worried she was getting
maybe visiting Sammy. I have no idea.
Yeah. Okay. So she's still around at least. That's good to know. And I'm curious to see what happens with her. Like they have so many goddamn pieces. Like they can do so many things. It's really interesting. And Knockouts Championship #1 contender match. This was what Robles was talking about with how he thought Alicia should have been here. Let us know if you would have preferred that. Deonna Purrazzo versus Mia Yim. Great match. I mean, again. This is a great.
As good as it gets right here. I was really shocked. I didn't know going in that the main event was actually a knockouts match, which was sort of a good surprise for a change. Because somebody said lately, like Josh Alexander's main event matches he's been doing haven't been as good as say Speedball Mike Bailey. You know, it's just kind of weird to hear somebody say that because Josh Alexander is a beast, you know, and then hear somebody say, "Oh, these matches aren't as good as."
Yeah, I kind of agree. I mean, I don't think there's much more fun than a speedball match these days. Like that guy's just.
Yeah, but this knockouts match was incredible. There's a lot of close finishes, like for pinfalls, and she tried to put her in the Venus de Milo, and then Mia kind of countered it. It just was really, I think this is probably my favorite Mia Yim match so far. Maybe all time.
This reminded me of how great she is, because she had some really great matches when she was with TNA or whatever it was called back then, maybe GFW. She had some really great matches, and she was part of that stable with my girl Taryn Terrell, who I thought was so ridiculously underrated. But yeah, Mia, my only minor complaint would be I would have pushed her a little more before beating Deanna, but I guess Deanna's kind of cool jumping to the tag division.
Yeah, I take it they're having her face Jordan now, right? Isn't that what it was for?
Yeah, so this is a
okay, and this is going to be at Emergence.
I don't think they announced that, but they did shake hands. But maybe they did. I'm not sure.
I think they had a graphic or something saying that they were going to face off at Emergence. So
okay, so we finally got an Emergence match, even though I haven't seen a thing for that.
I'm pretty sure. Don't quote me, but I'm pretty sure that's what it's at.
Yeah. I mean, you could quote him. That would get us some more views if you cut that little thing out and made fun of Gary being wrong. We're cool with anything. Okay, I think we hit on pretty much everything, and man, we got a lot of time to spare. Good job us this week. We must be forgetting something.
Sorry. Here, you never know.
Let me just roll up the card fast. We mentioned our MVP, right? We mentioned our fan of the week a few times. We mentioned Killer Kelly. Yeah, man. Laredo Kid. Laredo Kid versus Trey Miguel.
Oh yeah, yeah. How did we forget that?
Man, there was 3 awesome matches on this show, and one, whatever.
Well, I liked all the styles of the wrestling pretty much last night because it's kind of that more high flying kind of stuff, like the stuff that I'm more of a high flying, and I don't know. I'm just like that fun fan, I just like six spots.
We've talked about this before. How again, I hate always throwing out Jake something as an example, but he's just the most recent one I could think of that guys that didn't fit in the X division.
Oh yeah.
Now it's totally the X division. Like Trey, Laredo Kid, the opening match with Angles. I really should have got that name before we started.
I can't believe he was countering a lot of stuff that Speedball's maneuvers, and it's that's one of the first, maybe other than Trey Miguel, pretty much everybody else he's been kind of just been walking through. But Angels did a really good job of countering some of his high flying capability moves that he was doing.
Yeah, I mean, there's a few things out of Rich Swann. I mean, he was a former champ, and he's kind of doing nothing right now. But I mean, other than a handful of people, they are killing it. The X division is maybe better than it's been, I think, since the old days. Well, it's so X division-ish. You know what I'm saying?
Well, what I find incredible with Rich Swann is you got to remember this guy come off a very serious leg break.
Yes.
And I mean, he does not show Sammy, for instance, he doesn't show any signs of being any slower. It's just incredible how fast wrestlers heal now. For me,
that's another thing I don't think about. This guy was hurt, so maybe they're slowly bringing him, Swann, kind of very slowly bringing him back. That's why Gary's here, folks. He's the smart one. But yeah, I mean, like I said, the X division killing it. The knockouts, the knockouts are just they're in another world right now.
Yeah, this was a really good show. I see 411 give it an 8 out of 10.
Yeah. I always say they never go above 7 point something. But again, I love 411. Okay, but here's what it says: 8.0, very good. The final score, 8.0 equals very good. The first line says, fantastic episode of Impact. Come on. That's a 9. It's a 9. It's a 9.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I probably would be in that 8.5, 8.6, or 7, somewhere around there.
But the word fantastic is not even close to very good. You know what I mean? It's they just can't
credit where credit's due.
But then get that word fantastic out of there because it looks stupid. But whatever, it was really a great episode, and we're gonna wrap it up quick. Leave some comments, subscribe, and we'll be back next time.
We'll see you next Friday, everybody.